The latest Samsung TVs are packed with features that seem confusing but can be extremely useful. Which features are best for viewing experience and types of content? How do you manage the homepage for maximum efficiency? How do you access the various game services? I explore and supply recommendations for using all the different options available to you for the latest Samsung Neo QLED TVs. I finally decided to upgrade my old Sony Bravia 4K TV, which I bought back in 2018. I've been spending more and more time looking at Samsung products, so I decided to buy the latest Samsung Neo QLED 4K TV. Because of my available space, I had to choose the 50-inch version, QN90D. However, except for the 8K upscaling for larger screens, the features across all the various sizes of panel are almost identical. The most exciting update for me as a tech enthusiast was the much publicised AI features now being integrated into the latest TVs. I regularly watch a lot of varied content across different media, including movies, TV shows and football. Samsung's marketing promises that the average owner will notice an improvement across all types of media thanks to the new AI processing and options. Old shows and videos can be viewed in 4K, even when the original resolution is much lower. Also, Samsung has applied its AI technology to the sound. The proposed improvements will make it easier to hear dialogue and deliver a better audio mix that is unique to each owner's room. There are a myriad of other features and options, including gaming via streaming services, SmartThings integration, and some new health tech that has its own homepage that integrates into the Samsung Health ecosystem. It's worth quickly mentioning my decision to go with an LED TV rather than an OLED panel. If you're not already familiar with the technologies, the fundamental differences are that OLED screens have a higher refresh rate, can achieve a higher dynamic range for darker scenes in movies and shows, and can enable thinner TV designs because less screen substrates are required to produce the picture you see on the screen. On the flip side, LED TVs are much better for rooms with a lot of ambient light because they have a higher peak brightness, and in most cases are less expensive to manufacture, passing on the reduction in cost to buyers compared to the more expensive OLED technology. Samsung's new Neo QLED technology implements a new design that bridges the performance gap between OLED and LED technology. Using much smaller LED emitters in the panels enables greater contrast for images on the screen, especially useful for those dark scenes in movies mentioned earlier. For me personally, my choice was down to necessity. My TV lives in our family room with a lot of natural light most of the day. With that in mind, an LED TV was a much more appealing and appropriate option versus the lower brightness of an OLED TV. Furthermore, the Samsung Neo QLED TVs also include an anti-glare coating on the screen to further help with distracting reflections from windows or room lighting, compensating for what I lose in performance elsewhere. OLED screens will be best for people with rooms with lower ambient light or dedicated theatre rooms. Thanks to Samsung's innovations in implementing AI hardware into their TVs, viewers can now benefit from a lot more content being displayed at higher resolutions, even when the original content was produced for 1080p or lower. What this means in theory is that even with older movies and TV shows, only available in lower resolution, they can be processed in such a way to be presented in 4K. The benefit to the viewer is that with the higher resolution, the more details and subtle nuances are visible, further immersing you into whatever you're watching. What I found from my own experience was quite interesting and not necessarily a clear advantage over not using AI. For a start, upscaling from 1080p did have the curious effect of smoothing out the image, which achieves the same effect as a beauty mode you can find in some phone cameras. It's most noticeable in close-ups of a face where the AI interpolates data using the available image data to approximate what it thinks will fill in the missing resolution gaps. I'm only able to test the 4K upscaling on my own 50-inch TV, as the 8K resolution is reserved for 55-inch and larger TVs, but my assumption is the effect would be more noticeable for lower resolution content, but also affecting native 4K content too. The other selling point of the AI features includes improving the image quality via automatically detecting the content type and making changes. Here, after training your TV to match your own preferences, the AI feature will automatically change the brightness and contrast based on whether you're watching streams, sports, or movie content. One such bonus for sports is adding the additional processing to reduce the blur of fast-moving objects such as a football. The theory is that the action will be easier to follow. The general scene mode can make more theatrically presented shows suffer from the soap opera effect. This is where the modern TV technology artificially adjusts the image to such a degree, including affecting the frame rate, that the content will appear as if it's staged and lit on a soundstage for a soap opera. Movies and shows no longer look cinematic, draining their ambience. The result is much less appealing for the viewer, making it more distracting and pulling them out of the intended experience. However, it will suit shows and content that are made to be presented like a stage production, such as shows like Modern Family. Unfortunately, there's no way to delineate between the two types of content, and it requires manually switching off the mode when AI optimization isn't applicable. Also, I did see some visual artifacts while watching football, with frames repeated and flickering while watching players and the ball. My assumption is that the AI processing was still finding it challenging to successfully isolate the objects and will make mistakes. To be fair to Samsung, for football in Canada at least, I think the feature is hamstrung by the 720p livestream feed used by major license holders via their apps. Starting with less data via a compressed feed at a lower resolution will challenge the NPUs in the TV to make accurate and believable improvements to the image. Only Fubo TV has 4K streams for some matches. It's worth noting you do not have to use the AI features, and I talk about the manual picture options you can choose in a later chapter, along with the AI sound options. Intelligent mode is the setting that controls the AI picture features, and some other features I talk about in later chapters of this video. Intelligent mode requires activating in the master settings. It can be toggled on and off in the quick setting menus just using the remote button afterwards. If it's the first time using the feature, you'll be prompted to train the intelligent mode on your preferred brightness, contrast, color, and color tone for different types of content. These include sports, movies, and a general setting for other types of content such as YouTube videos or TV shows. Once set, you can use the quick menu to toggle the feature on and let the TV make the picture adjustments from then on. The QN90D features 4 default picture modes that you can cycle through in the quick menu if the intelligent mode is not selected. While the dynamic mode might be useful for viewers with visual disabilities, I find that it boosts the settings too much, overexposing and oversaturating the image. The standard setting is meant to be used for more general content in more brightly lit environments. The TV will even make adjustments on the image based on whether you have some of the light sensing options turned on for a viewing experience tailored to accommodate the amount of ambient light in your room. The Eco setting will make the adjustments to the brightness to lower the power consumption, but this mode will only be acceptable in a low light environment for most users. Movie mode is optimized for watching movie content in a darkened room, applying some of the AI optimization features, but otherwise respecting the original source for a cinematic presentation. Finally, Filmmaker mode is the most interesting mode, and probably the best mode for cinephiles and viewers who want to see movies as intended by the director. It removes all of the processing that would be added by the TV and preserves the correct aspect ratios, colours and frame rates. What you'll notice is that this mode is somewhat darker and only really intended for use at nighttime with low lighting or in a dedicated theatre room in your home. The Neo QLED range of Samsung TVs also feature AI sound features intended to dynamically adjust the audio to match your viewing area. However, the limitation for this feature is that you have to use the TV speakers when listening to playback. If your TV is connected to a receiver or other audio equipment, these features won't work, which is a shame. My own setup is connected to a 5.1 surround sound system in my family room. Active Voice Amplifier will monitor the TV's environment for sound using the built-in microphones. If a noise disturbance is higher than the TV sound for over 3 seconds, AVA will detect this and amplifies the dialogue from your TV to make it more audible over the surrounding noises. Adaptive Sound provides optimized sound quality by analyzing the viewing space and the acoustic components of the content. Adaptive volume automatically adjusts to a specific volume level while you're watching TV. The TV analyzes your volume usage history by time period to automatically adjust the volume when you use an app or switch to an external input source. A major selling point for me was the support of a number of game streaming services. However, you can still obviously connect to a console like an Xbox or PlayStation, or a Switch. Plus, you can connect a gaming PC to take advantage of some of the more advanced display features which I cover off later in this chapter. If you're not already familiar with the game streaming services, these are apps that enable you to play games using the cloud. All the computing is managed by remote servers and the visuals are streamed to your TV. The benefit to this technology is that you can take advantage of the equivalent of a high-end computer specification for gaming without actually owning the hardware. Controlling any of the games is managed via a compatible Bluetooth controller. For my own setup, I bought a rather funky blue Xbox controller because I'm a big fan of the design. However, other major brands of Bluetooth-enabled controllers are also compatible. You have your choice of the leading streaming services when it comes to gaming, with the primary ones being Xbox Cloud Gaming and Nvidia's GeForce Now. You also have access to other similar cloud gaming services like Utomic and Amazon's Luna. The TV supports HDR10+, the alternative to Dolby Vision, which also uses dynamic metadata encoded in the video to actually display the images as intended by the original content creator. The metadata informs the TV's own processing to adjust the brightness levels on a scene-by-scene or frame-by-frame basis for a very sophisticated reproduction. If you choose to play via a console or a connected PC, one of the most fascinating integrated features of the Samsung Neo QLED TVs is Game Bar. Game Bar offers more control over game settings like input lag, sound output and picture mode, but it also enables you to adjust the display aspect ratio from 16:9 to 21:9 or 32:9 for a wider field of view on PC. The Game Bar also includes some other cool features. Virtual Aim Point adds crosshairs to the center of the screen to give you a competitive advantage when you're playing first-person shooter games without aiming. Surround sound turns on the 3D spatial audio sound for compatible games while using compatible earphones. For instance, once connected via Bluetooth, you can use the Samsung Galaxy Buds 2 Pro. The feature will further boost the game soundtrack more than a 5.1 surround sound system, so that bullets and explosions and other effects give the impression of being all around you. Dynamic black equalizer is another competitive advantage feature. Here, the TV will boost the processing of dark areas on the screen to reveal enemies and opponents so they can't hide as easily. Game Motion Plus is a feature that has been designed to make adventure and RPG games more enjoyable. It features a softer, clearer picture quality. This is unlike action games where the fidelity is less important than speed. Blur reduction is another feature that aims to give you an edge during action games. The TV will reduce game screen blur to optimize fast-moving images. The ultimate goal is to make the targets more easier to define and increase reaction time where speed is paramount. Judder reduction shares a similar function to blur reduction by clearly defining targets by removing errant frames to latency to enable clearer targeting. LED clear motion and clear motion are similar to the visual benefits of dynamic black equalizer. The feature adjusts the LED backlight to make dynamic scenes look more clear and to enable you to identify enemies and targets. The feature which I thought was particularly innovative is Minimap Auto Detection. The mode will isolate and enable you to enlarge the minimap as a separate video feed. The genius of the feature is that it's agnostic to whichever game you're playing. It's not necessarily a feature everyone will use, but I can see it being extremely useful for FPS games where identifying targets in your vicinity quickly definitely gives you a competitive edge. I did try it with Zelda to give me an idea of how it might work in other games. At best, it might be a feature that's useful for accessibility if you have vision issues. If you're a PC gamer and have the ability to connect the TV to your rig, the QN90D has some features that will appeal. By default, the TV supports AMD's FreeSync technology that eradicates or limits screen tearing where the game might not update uniformly. However, more importantly, the QN90D supports 144Hz refresh rate natively when connected to a compatible video card and cable that supports higher refresh rates. The higher the refresh rate, the faster the action on the screen updates, enabling you to react faster. I hadn't really thought about the idea of connecting my PC to my TV, but knowing that this feature exists now makes me want to explore setting up a permanent gaming station. The The latest Samsung TVs also support SmartThings. Access to the SmartThings interface is managed by pressing the setting button to bring up the submenu and then navigating to connected devices and then SmartThings. Or you can access SmartThings via the Daily Plus menu. If you're not already familiar with SmartThings, the best description is that it's Samsung's own version of Google Home or Apple Home ecosystem. It's a way to group and control any compatible internet-enabled devices, either directly or via automations that you create. The QN90D and other models in the range also include a built-in SmartThings hub to connect with any Matter-compatible devices. This includes some devices from other manufacturers, so you're not limited to just Samsung products. On the TV, the user interface is divided into 4 main areas. Favorites is where you'll find any devices or routines that you have designated with shortcuts for quick access. Devices is the section that provides the complete list of all your linked hardware that are compatible with SmartThings. What's more, the higher-end Samsung range of TVs also includes sound, light and motion sensors that can be used as part of your routines, which I'll explain shortly. There's a fun, if a little pointless, additional feature under devices that I spent some time exploring, and that's the ability to map out your home and all of its rooms, and attribute all of the compatible smart devices to the various locations. The map can be viewed in 2D or 3D, but ultimately doesn't really provide much in the way of utility for me personally. I could see some value if you have temperature sensors connected to your compatible smart heating to monitor individual rooms, but ultimately the feature is a fancier way to display your devices instead of using a list. Life is a section devoted to activities related to your Samsung appliances, such as your robot vacuum cleaner, smart fridge, smart washing machine, home security system, and more. Rather than just controls for the devices, this section is more concerned with tangentially related activities, such as using your Samsung JetBot robot to monitor your pets and displaying recipe ideas on your TV from your Samsung Food app. There are a myriad of other sections to explore which are added using your mobile phone when you've linked your Samsung account to the TV. Unfortunately, I'm personally limited in my ability to explore these features right now. For example, the JetBot is not available in Canada. We're also not in the market for any new household appliances, so I'm unable to test the Samsung smart fridge or washing machine. It's something I really hope to rectify in the future. The final section is called Routines. Just like similar automations that you can create using Google Home, you can use the app on your phone to tell a number of your devices to perform tasks with a single input. For example, in my home I have a simple routine for turning off all the Lutron kitchen lights in the evenings. While I'm watching TV, if the lights in the kitchen by my family room are switched on manually after dark, it can be quite distracting. Now I can simply navigate to the routine via the TV menu and click on it to run the routine to turn off the 4 lights. As a quick note, you can also use voice control via your TV's microphone to control the smart devices. I cover this off in more depth in a later chapter. The Samsung Daily Plus section is dedicated to more lifestyle and productivity functions and apps. Here you can access the aforementioned SmartThings controls. Daily Plus is also where you can access health-oriented features, including Samsung Health, which can be synced with your Samsung Health app on your phone or your Galaxy Watch. Once connected, you can review any health statistics you've set up to be tracked. Samsung Health is also the area where you can access a suite of workout videos if home workouts are something that is important to you. After you work out, you can record your metadata to add to your Samsung Health app. The Daily Plus section is also home to productivity options such as streaming your computer to your TV using Windows Easy Connect. Once you've downloaded and set up the app on your TV, you can download and install the necessary software on your desktop computer to connect via the cloud. With a Bluetooth keyboard and mouse connected to your TV, you can then use your TV like a remote monitor. However, one of the major features for Samsung phone or tablet owners is Samsung DeX. Here, you can use your TV as a monitor for a lightweight computing experience using your mobile device as the brains. DeX converts your phone from a more app-based function to a mouse and keyboard input function, as if it was something akin to a Chromebook. All the same apps on your phone, for instance, are accessible but displayed in windows just like a desktop PC. The major benefit of DeX is convenience. You don't have to convert any files or import working documents from your phone to enable DeX to work. It's the same apps and services, just available on a convenient desktop interface. Multiview is best described as picture-in-picture but on steroids. The feature gives you the ability to view multiple video sources simultaneously in smaller companion windows arranged on your TV. What's more, you can use your Samsung mobile device to add additional content. Unfortunately, there's rather limited useful functionality for me personally. The compatible sources are any device connected via an HDMI port, such as a cable box or console, Samsung TV, YouTube, your mobile device, or a connected USB camera. If you have all the necessary inputs, you could potentially watch live sports from your cable box while keeping various stats about the game displayed in parallel via your mobile phone. However, as a cord cutter myself, I consume my sports content via dedicated apps from Fubo TV and DAZN, which aren't compatible with Multiview. I could see more utility for playing video games while keeping YouTube walkthroughs displayed in parallel to help you with solving puzzles and difficult bosses. To start using the feature, you first have to choose the sources you want to include via the Multiview option in the submenu. You can then save your preferred sources and screen configuration for quick access next time and name them. Once you have Multiview set up with your preferred sources, there are some controls you can access by pressing the enter button while you switch to the source. These include being able to resize the sources and even changing to picture-in-picture feeds. By default, the audio will only be played from the selected media by pressing left or right on the remote. However, there is an option to have double audio, which can be somewhat confusing but may suit some setups for different reasons. As a Samsung device, the TV automatically supports Bixby, the official Samsung AI assistant. However, you can also use Amazon Alexa, but unfortunately not Google Assistant, which is a missed opportunity. Of the three, Google Assistant is the most competent digital assistant by some margin. To set your preferred assistant, all you have to do is navigate to Settings, All, Settings General and Privacy, and then Voice Assistant. For Bixby, there are some limited functions you can use via voice, but in most cases it's probably faster and easier to use the remote control. Like Samsung tablets, Samsung TVs support Daily Board. It's a persistent living notice board with a few extra features. When the TV is not in use and in standby mode, you can display weather information, custom notes for household members, and even live stream compatible security cameras. You have a few options of what to display, including the current weather, notes you create for other members of the household, or even just reminders to yourself, a live feed for any compatible smart cameras you've connected via SmartThings, plus your SmartThings home status and any events triggered by a device. Finally, there are options to switch on tips that gives you points on how to use your TV, and energy to view energy consumption of your devices registered in SmartThings. Daily Board will then remain on screen based on your preference in the settings for a few seconds up to 10 minutes. However, you can also set a night mode so that Daily Board won't switch on at night time if the built-in light sensor doesn't detect enough ambient light. However, the feature is somewhat stunted and not terribly useful at this time. For a start, it's difficult to find and edit. It requires turning on the feature in the menu options along with switching on your voice assistant. If you don't turn on the ability to use Bixby, then you're unable to launch the feature when the TV is in standby mode manually without the SmartThings app on your phone. When the TV screen is off and in standby mode, you must say Hi Bixby to launch the Daily Board. Then you can navigate to the bottom of the screen to edit the content with the remote. The other option is to use the app by navigating to Devices, tapping on TV, and then Featured at the bottom, and then Daily Board. Now tap on Edit and you can toggle the different options on and off. You can have the feature turned on based on using the built-in motion sensor, but I found that it's a bit hit and miss and doesn't always launch. The other issue I have with it right now is that the available widgets are too limited. It'd be nice to include additional information such as upcoming calendar events, and not just from Samsung Calendar, but from Google Calendar exclusively. With a few adjustments, I could see this feature being far more useful, but for now I just keep it turned off. When it comes to my final thoughts about the main features of the QN90D, I'd say that it's mainly positive, but I did have some reservations, especially around the AI features which don't quite deliver against the marketing. First and foremost, as a TV, the image quality in daylight and nighttime is excellent when calibrated for different types of content. Each owner's preferences might vary, but the multitude of different settings means that every owner should be able to set up the TV exactly how they want it. 4K content reproduction is exactly what I was expecting, with super sharp imagery and very vibrant colours. What's more, the high dynamic range via the new much smaller quantum light emitting diodes in the display achieve greater contrast, especially for those all-important dark or nighttime scenes in shows and movies. There is less light bleed affecting the neighbouring LED, which plagues regular LED TVs. Overall, the performance feels much closer to an OLED performance for gradients of blacks. Also, as an LED TV, the much higher brightness coupled with the anti-glare coating on the screen lends itself perfectly to my very bright family room. It was noticeable that during shooting this video when using the TV normally, I didn't notice the reflection from my windows. However, when reviewing the video footage, it was much more noticeable, which was a surprising difference that bodes well for actually using the TV in real life. Another very pleasing discovery was that the Tizen interface and the hardware in the TV is very fast. It was noticeably better using the QN90D interface to navigate to apps versus my previous Google TV 4K. Also, I was very pleased that even though my Google TV 4K was previously connected via Ethernet, the Samsung TV was just as quick in terms of streaming and downloading content via Wi-Fi. I also like the fact that Samsung now includes free live TV for any interested owners. I watch content almost exclusively via paid services, but I can see the free option being great for more cost-conscious buyers. The other feature I really enjoyed is Gaming Hub, the dedicated app for connecting your Nintendo Switch to the TV, plus the dedicated support for both Xbox Cloud and GeForce Now are great. While this isn't a review of the streaming services, what I did find that bar some bugs, I was able to use the TV for gaming without any hiccups. The controller connects seamlessly and there are no noticeable delays between inputs. It really is a great alternative to owning an Xbox Series X or connecting a gaming PC for more casual gaming. Unfortunately, there are some less great areas for discussion. For a starter, the AI features don't really deliver against what you'd expect. There are good reasons for the discrepancy, but not something you'd necessarily expect based on the marketing of the features. Upscaling from 1080p or 720p content to near 4K resolution isn't perfect. It makes sense because the NPUs on the TV are trying to fill in the data gaps. 4K is 4 times the amount of data as 1080p, so the TV works hard to approximate the missing information. This leads to the face smoothing effect I mentioned earlier. Close-ups of actors and speakers exhibit the same effect as if they're wearing a lot of makeup. Despite the technology being extremely innovative, the NPUs can't approximate the subtle flaws of the human skin and pores that we take for granted when looking at people in the flesh. Instead, the TV does its best just to fill in the gaps with the help of whatever sampling algorithm it uses. Also, I should have adjusted my expectation for the other AI features like Intelligent Mode too. What I was expecting from the impressive sounding technology were magical results that wouldn't require any calibration from me to get the best image. However, the opposite is true and not always perfect, even with some investment in fine-tuning the features. Left to its own devices, Intelligent Mode will often be too aggressive in its adjustments to the point where it's not acceptable. This includes oversaturating the image and applying some motion smoothing AI that looks odd. While watching football, using Intelligent Mode makes the grass look fluorescent in bright sunlight at a distance. However, to its credit, it manages the image much better in close-ups during replays. Also, the general scene settings designed for content other than movies or sports will make theatrical TV shows suffer from the soap opera effect. Finally, the AI mode for gaming will also aggressively adjust the image to be distracting by default and requires further adjustment. Another disappointment is the AI sound options are only available when using TV speakers. It would be much more useful if it could be used in conjunction with the connected surround sound systems for certain owners like myself. The TV speakers are far inferior to any 5.1 surround sound system. As a major Google partner in the phone and mobile device business, it's a massive shame Google Assistant isn't one of the options for the TV. Bixby is leagues behind Google Assistant, and even Alexa trails Google Assistant when it comes to performance. I do like the possibilities of the SmartThings integration, but manually running the routines is hampered by a massive delay in response time. Usually it takes several seconds for the SmartThings interface to connect with your various devices before it can be used, which is frustrating. Having said that, I feel like a lot of the negative points of the TV can be addressed with future software updates. The hardware itself has been impressive, especially when you take the time to calibrate the TV. I look forward to seeing those updates so I can get even more out of my TV in the future. Thank you for watching, and as always, it would be great if you were to like the video and subscribe to my channel for more content on personal technology and the connected home.